Hello, bonjour, Savan. How are we today? It is Saturday, February the 21st, 2026, here in beautiful southwestern Ontario, Canada, by the still icy shores of Lake Huron, although I'm starting to see little wee holes in the ice where I can see some blue water. So it's starting to melt. Snow is actually almost gone here. February thaw. Usually there's a little bit of a thaw in February, and that's exactly what's going on. So I know I had said I was going to continue on reading the papers from back in 2005, 2006, and I think it went into March of 2007. I was going to continue on for a while reading that so you could get the idea or an understanding of how the progression of your awakening, communicating with your higher selves, your angelic realm, off-world beings, your tribe from off-world, so on and so on and so on. But as I continued on reading, it was getting really personal because, as I say, I was going through a divorce. There was a lawsuit. There was, family matters with my mom and everything to deal with. And a lot of the conversation or the automatic writing that I was doing was concerning them trying to help me get through all of the rigmarole of all of that. It was the emotional roller coaster, and to stay strong and to keep going. And that was a very difficult thing. So I decided, I'm not going to continue reading that. I will go through perhaps the pattern. There seemed to be a pattern of communication. I'm not quite sure why, or maybe this was just to give some continuity or stability or groundedness. This is what to expect, Cynthia, as we're continuing on with your training through the automatic writing. So again, there would be the beginning. They all started the same. I've continued on for quite some time. I am going to continue reading. It's just fascinating. Looking back 20 years ago, I'd totally forgotten all this stuff. But they would start out with basically the greetings, salutations that they say humans like to do, so they're honoring that. So, greetings, how are you today? We've noticed that you're down today, or that you're up today, or whatever today. So they'd make a comment about my emotional, mental status, and then give some advice, some encouragement, some motivation, some hope. And that was wonderful. That was really wonderful. And then they would get into the message. Then they say, okay, now on for the message. Now we're going to speak about the message for today. And then they would give me a message, depending on which group came in, because there were more and more groups as time went on, and different interdimensional thought waves, species of thought. They had different names for themselves, I guess, just as we have different names for ourselves. But it was a group effort, and there was always one spokesperson who was speaking for the group. My webcam is acting a little wonky again today. It hasn't done this for years. It keeps changing the color of the screen here from regular color to purple and then back. So I don't know. It's just doing what it does. Anyway, as I continued on, or have continued on reading all of this automatic writing that I wrote back in those years, there is a very true progression of how I was developing. So as I developed, like more spiritually, consciously aware, as my frequency came up and I started clearing out the grief and the fear and all those things I was dealing with, going through that very intense time period of my life, I was able to connect with higher and higher spiritual realms. And this is how it is reflected back to us today. So this is just a little bit of an idea if you don't already know, if you're new and you're starting out, like, how do I do all this stuff? It seems so daunting, confusing. I didn't think I could do any of the things that I'm doing today. I was already open and connected and ready to do it back then, but I doubted myself. I had so much fear and grief and trepidation about it, and only psychics can read energy, and all these misconceptions. There was a lot of brainwashing I had to work through. As I've said, I had to work through all the religious brainwashing that I had endured, and the societal, and so on and so on and so on, just as we all have to do this as the collective, each one of us individually, as we're working through this. And there seemed to be that routine, as I say, about how to progress through this. It was very interesting when going through the lawsuit that I was given all this information about the lawyer who was creating the kerfuffle with everybody. I didn't know how to, I sensed things, but I wasn't sure. There was always that doubt in the back of my mind. But my group or my team gave me all this information about the lawyer. It was telling me how corrupt he was and what his purpose of creating this scenario was to get money. He's very deceptive. He's very manipulative. He knew very well what he was doing and the harm and the pain he was causing other people. But see, he didn't feel good about himself. There was a whole psychological review of this man's psyche and why, because I like to know why. Inquiring minds want to know why, right? So I want to know, why is this man, why is he corrupt? Why is he doing this to all these people? Obviously, it usually comes down to money and greed, right? And fear and lack. The whole bit. It always goes back to root chakra issues and power over, dominance, control, all that kind of stuff that we've talked about for years. But I wanted to go and investigate it further, and they gave me the information. He didn't really feel good enough. And I was reminded of this man, this lawyer, who was conducting all of this. And when it was my time for what they called the hot seat, so I had to sit at the front of the room, and of course everything was recorded as the law clerk was doing, and all that silly rigmarole that the legal system has going for it. And all the questions, he thought he was smart. And he thought he was going to get me or trip me up or something. I don't know. It was so easy to read that guy. But I went in with the information from my team and group, knowing, because I wasn't fully there yet, trusting my own senses about it. But as I watched this guy go through these questions and I answered them, and of course all the lawyers are in the room, my lawyer's with me, and everybody's represented, because this guy sued a whole ton of people right back to different municipalities of cities and everything. It was just crazy. So as I'm sitting there and everybody's sort of watching and listening to every single word and watching me like a hawk, like every expression on my face and my intonation of my voice. As I was listening to the questions and I was answering them, I was polite and everything, And then I started to realize this guy's an idiot. Like, he's really dumb. He made a number of mistakes in his, I'm thinking, why didn't he research this better? So he was accusing me of this or that. None of that happened. I don't know what he was talking about. So I was really perplexed. He'd ask a question, I go, no. Well, you did this. No, you. whatever it was he was accusing me of, I'm like, no. And then he'd flip through his papers and it's like, no. And then my lawyer would correct him. And then he'd go, oh, okay. And then he'd go to the next question. And it was just even dumber than the other one. Like, it just was laughable. I mean, at one point he was asking me the same question over and over and over and over again. I finally started to lose my cool. I started to become impatient, and which I can tend to be at times, because the idiocy and the incorrectness and like the whole thing was just such a farce. And I finally started to lose my temper with this guy. And my lawyer, astute as he was, recognized this and basically took over from there and made the statements that, of course, it wouldn't have been appropriate for me to make. But he pretty much flattened the guy, and rightly so. Lawyers around the table were laughing. I mean, he was a joke, and all I kept thinking was, did you graduate like at the bottom of your class or something? Like, how did you even pass the bar and all your tests? Like, but anyway, so then I could start to see why he felt like, he was kind of worthless. But he had that conscious awareness solidified within him from an early age. And he just, no matter what he did, even becoming a lawyer didn't, help him with that, to feel better about himself. So, of course, he lost. I mean, there was no doubt about that. Made a fool out of himself in the process. And all the pain and angst he caused everybody around him because of his low self-esteem. He didn't have to be that way. He didn't have to manipulate people that way to make himself, or try, because he didn't succeed, try to make himself feel better or superior or smarter than everybody else. But he was incapable of doing that. It was sad. When I read all this information and jogging my memory and retrieved some of that information, I just thought, how sad is that? It's embarrassing what he did to himself. Flat out embarrassing. So when it was all over, my lawyer walked me out and says, oh, you were the perfect witness, he said. He was so happy because, of course, we knew right there we had won. I mean, he was a laughingstock. So for some reason, this is a story I'm being guided to relate to all of us here. When you drop into fear, there is no resonance that can be clear. That's how I'm hearing it. Okay? So don't fear these people in supposedly power on your world, in your legal system, in any system, because a lot of them are buffoons. And they dance to their own tune. And it's not of the higher light. So I'm going to continue on reading my old automatic writing pages, because there's a wealth of information in there, and of course I didn't really get it at the time. I had also thrown in questions asking about my son at the time and asking about people in my life, and I got very clear renditions of them. Again, right back to the psychological reasons, the psyche of why they were doing what they were doing, not just like a psychic reading would be, okay, well, this will happen or that'll happen, which of course we know doesn't necessarily happen. It depends on you if you want it to happen or not. Although there are destiny points, I will say. But all of the writing, the downloads I was getting was explaining everybody's psyche their past life interference, their past lives, the parallel lives, the intrusions in their thoughts by unwelcome entities of lower light. They gave it all to me. And now that I look at it, I'm starting to take it all in. It's like, wow, they were training me. It's not like I didn't know how to do it. I didn't remember how to do it. So now when I'm following the trace line back, when reading for people or helping people to heal, we trace you right back to the beginning of time. Not time outside of time, but we can clue into that one, those ones as well. But we get the whole picture. You have to understand the psyche, where you're coming from, why you're thinking the way you're thinking, why you're doing what you're doing, why you are manipulating the way you are manipulating, because you don't think you're powerful enough to get it or create it yourself or manifest it yourself, whereas you are. But you've been broken. Mentally, psychologically, you've been trained to think you're nothing and you're worthless, like that poor lawyer. It's too bad. So sad. He came to grips that day. I'm hearing this right now as we're channeling this. He came to grips that day that he had to find another way. So right there, we helped him in that very gigantic, large room with all these people and all these lawyers. He started to wake up. And he chose this path for a reason, just like you and I have done. So again, come back to yourself. The old hippie mantra, I'm going off to find myself. Peace. Only you can find you. We can help you. We can support you. We can guide you. We can teach you how to come back to the light, your light, how to lift your restrictions, like, right, in your viewing and your thinking, perception, the brainwashing. We can unveil that for you. But you have to do the work for you. We take you so far. And then it's like, we got to push that little birdie out of the nest. You got to learn to fly on your own. That's when you phone home. That's when you call in your spirit guides. You call in your higher selves. You call in your angelics. Call in your tribe. Where are you from? Andromedans, Arcturians. I always hear it as Octo. It's kind of a funny sound of what their name is. There's all kinds of them. We're from them. We've got their genetics. Tons of their genetics. Okay. There are nice guys out there, and there are nasty ones. It's no different on the earth. You just have to learn how to discern. And I'm hearing to say, this is interesting, I haven't heard this before, most of you are from royal birth. Interesting, n'est-ce pas? Yes. So there's this quantum reality scene going on now on your planet and on your world, and this is about to be unfurled. We're about to teach you a whole new way on a whole new world. And this is now being unfurled. I'm hearing, it's a little hard to get this one, but hang on a minute. We're going to catch you up to your gate. I'm guessing that's your Stargate, so you won't be too late. I used to hear that all the time. Back in 2007, don't be late for your Stargate. Don't be late for your gate. I had no clue what that meant. So don't be late to escalate. Or you're going to have to wait. In other words, you probably have to do this again. Another time, another space, another place. Another lifetime, another race. We've got the door open for us, and it's widening all the time for this Stargate to ascend. You just have to want it. Then you have to do it. So the intention plus the action. Can't do one without the other. How many times have we met people, oh, I intend to do this, 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 and this, and they talk a good talk, and they're all excited, they're up, and their frequency's high, and then it just sputters right out because they don't act. You need both combined. So when you set your intention to manifest or create something, you have to act upon that in the physical realm, which is in the here and now. So make sure you express yourself adequately enough and then take the steps, the manual steps, one after the other to complete your course of learning here. No more bridges burning, we're already learning. Yeah. I'm not hearing anything else to say. I'm going to take it that's the end of our message today. Just a little, a little side note here too. I was invited to do a podcast, and it was just a 5-minute, I didn't know anything about it. It's the first time I've ever done a podcast. They did send me the link afterwards. It's not the best audio in the world, but anyway, it's only about 5 minutes. I did post that on my Healing Our Energy Facebook page. If you want to go there, the link is in the description box below. Just scroll right down to the bottom, click on that. You can follow me there if you wish, and you can listen to that. I didn't know anything about it. They just invited me. It was last Tuesday. It was the 17th. You know, our solar eclipse, fire horse. That's when I got the call and the invitation. What the heck, why not? And so I did the podcast, and as I say, they sent me the link. I uploaded it, and then I got another call, and yesterday, or it was the day before, I don't know. And it was, I guess it's a sales job, is what they do. They called it we gave you an audition. I said, I didn't even know I was auditioning. You said you just wanted some information about energy healing, so that's what I did. Yeah. And so then I got the call from the States. This was in New York, apparently. And so the offer was to offer me half-hour podcast shows in the future, but I have to pay for them. This was just a trick. It was fun though. I really enjoyed doing that. Anyway, so there it is. If you want to go listen to it. Also, again, I know I'm on repeat here. Our retreat is next month, 29th of March, on a Sunday. If you wish to join. Again, look at the poster on my Healing Our Energy Facebook page. You have to scroll down a bit, find the poster. It's turquoise and white. And contact the organizer, and you have to join through her. If you do wish to book an appointment with us, you can go to the website www.healingourenergy.ca and book your appointment there. So I'm going to go. Doesn't look like the snow is coming just yet, maybe this afternoon. This is in the morning today. So I'm going to go out and see if I can have a walk before the snow comes. Love you always. Take care of yourselves and others, and help clear yourself of fear. And then we can radiate out of here. All right, blessings. It's all about the love. All right, bye for now.